All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. We're talking some hoops with my man Rio. 5 games on tap. As you can see, it is all the way spread out. 4-hour window from the first game to the last game. However, 4 of the 5 games are within the first hour, so you do have time. Step away from your computer. Do whatever you got to do. Couple good games. I'm excited to talk through this slate with you, Rio. How are we doing today?
They were doing good. NBA DFS is my favorite time of year. I haven't had any crazy wins yet, but in terms of being a fan of the sport, it's a great time for me. My Jazz are up, Patriots are up, best team in the AFC East, so it's a good time to be in the Turner household for sure.
There you go. I hammered the Patriots -4.5 this week. I saw Sunday night. It was 5.5 at most other books. Couldn't believe the Falcons going to be on the road against the Patriots, who have looked great at 4.5. So it did move a point, so we at least beat some line movement. But I am cheering for your Patriots. Big Patriots fan over here this week. In terms of NBA, Rio, so our weekend last week, you and I opened it off, the 2-gamer. I mean, man, what a 2-gamer that was. Chef going back and forth with Aaron Gordon. First game went to double OT. That was a great night to start it off. But what have your just thoughts been, NBA, DFS-wise, whatever, for this first week?
It feels like it's a lot higher scoring early on than it was in season past. I saw a chart. I think there's already like more 40-point scores early on in the season than we've had in like probably the past like 10 years. But I think the main takeaway is just how good the rookie class has been for this past year. I mean, VJ Edgecombe looks like he's going to be a superstar. Trey Johnson looks really good. Fears has been up and down, but I think he's got a ton of talent. And we haven't really seen a lot from Ace Bailey yet, but I'm still very high on him. Cooper Flagg been having a couple up and down games, but there's a lot of pressure on him, so I'll give him, the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, the rookie class this season looks amazing, and then next year also looks really strong. I was kind of taking a look at it today. Just I don't know. It's tough right now because the Jazz are playing so well, and I want them to tank because we have so many strong options up top in the draft next year. Like, I think it'd be awesome if they got Carlos Boozer's son over there. He's over at Duke right now. He looks amazing. So
grown man, bro. Yeah, 24 and 23. Whoo!
He's a beast. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited about this NBA season. It feels very, very wide open right now. I don't even like OKC's not at full strength, clearly, but I think that the West is pretty wide open right now. And then the East is like, I don't know. I think it's probably gonna be like the Knicks or the Bucks that get there, but we'll see.
Bucks. I mean, I love what the Bucks did in the offseason. They finally got some guys that can come off the bench and get their own shot. I mean, last year it was pathetic the second Giannis stepped off the court. Let me, before I say hi to people in chat, and we'll go through it. Who would you rank 1, 2, 3 in the NBA? Just the best NBA players who you would take this year. 1, 2, 3. Give it to me.
I still think Jokic is number 1, but I don't really think that he's going to be in contention for the MVP this season. I think it's going to be between Wemby or Giannis, but I think those are 1, 2, 3 for me.
Yeah, I agree with those clear 3. Who would you take though on your team this year?
Wemby for sure.
Wemby 1, Jokic 2, Giannis 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Wemby is just stupid. His highlights are insane. It's him or Jokic still for me. Maybe the defensive presence that Wemby offers. I mean, just he can pull up from Steph range too after 2 blocks and do it that way. But man, Jokic's IQ.
Hey, Giannis he's knocking down threes this year too, though.
Giannis is a problem. Giannis has always been a problem. There's no grown ass man for sure, but the IQ of Jokic is just ability to do everything, and now just Wemby. I mean, it seems like he's taking the next step. I think I have to put Giannis 3, unfortunately. But I mean, I love Buck for life. Please be a Buck for life, and the Bucks will always have a chance. Nade's good to see you. Let's say hi to a lot of people. Little Neck, first one in here. Max, Kim, Paraby, Jordan, Scooter, Takedown, Bert C, YSN, I Am Rice, Philly Phantom, Wins a Lot, K, Jizzle, Gangrene, J Main, Jordan, J Kiefer, I'm sorry, Jose, Jordan again, Wardo, Kenny W. Hope everyone doing well. We'll touch on the last game, like game by game, that you can apply stuff for the showdown. But our man Little Neck, Monday through Friday, has his towers that is on this website. So if you go NBA Showdown, you can see his slate plan right here. He will be writing it up for the feature game, which is that game. So definitely come over, give it a try. Giannis a cash lock. It's still way too early to do all this, but no, I don't think at all right now. Value isn't, I don't think, too strong where it makes Giannis a priority. I think balanced build is probably the route to go right now, but a lot can change. I will have the cash report up like always. TC in here, J Far. Hope all doing well. I got nothing else. If you have any broad slate overview, Rio, you can hit it with us. If not, we'll just hop right in the first game.
Yeah, let's just hop right in, I think.
Good game. All right. First game of the slates. We have the Washington Wizards and the 76ers. 4.5-point favorites are the 76ers. The 239.5 total, which you think is the biggest on the slate. We do have 240.5 in the next game, but these games, the first two games that we talk about, by far the highest totals on the slate in terms of injuries. Philly is still without Paul George, no Dominic Barlow, complete chalk bust on Saturday, and he got hurt. On the other side for Washington, Trey Johnson is questionable. That is all I'm seeing right here. Take it away. What do you got in this first one?
Yeah, I just want to say something kind of crazy, sad about the Sixers I saw this morning. I think that they are one of the top teams in the league in three-point shooting, but they've only made 3 corner threes, which is obviously that's like the highest percentage three-point shot you can take because you're closer to the basket. But they're taking like a majority of their threes above the break, which is kind of crazy to think. I mean, they're just taking harder threes and making a ton of them, so kind of running hot there. But yeah, from an injury perspective, they're going to be getting Sixers will be getting Embiid back tonight on some sort of minutes limit. I haven't seen if they said it's still going to be 20 minutes or maybe a little bit more. But I still think that won't really do too much to their rotation. They'll also be getting Trendon Watford back tonight, and he could start. Jabari Walker's been pretty bad in the starting lineup. They might just kick him out completely, but I still think they're going to run things pretty tight here. But this will be the healthiest that they've been all season long until they get Paul George back. But you're still going to get a ton of minutes from Tyrese Maxey, Edgecombe, and Kelly Oubre in particular. So I think those guys are all pretty solid. But yeah, I do think that this game has a good amount of fantasy appeal on both sides. The Sixers are positive in the win total right now, but they have one of the worst defenses in the league. The Sixers are 3-0 with just a plus 4.8 net rating, which is kind of crazy for a team that's undefeated. They have the third worst defense in the league, and the Wizards are bottom 10 in defensive stats this season. Kind of talked about it last week. I think the Wizards will be they'll be a lot more playable, and the game environments will be a little bit better to pick on just because they do have a better roster, and they've pretty much had every game this season fairly competitive outside of the loss against Charlotte. Washington does play with the second fastest pace. The Sixers are 10th in pace as well. So should be up-tempo game. And then the Wizards, kind of like always, are a team that's given up a ton of points at the paint, giving up over 14 threes per game, second worst transition defense in the league. And the Sixers are dead last in pick-and-roll defense. So the guards for Washington are going to be in a pretty good spot here. But yeah, Maxey kind of kicks things off for the Sixers here. He's been amazing this season, second in the league in points per game at 37 points per game, leading the Sixers in usage. And even with a limited Joel Embiid back, I think he's still pretty viable here at sub 10% ownership again, with how the Wizards are dead last in DVP versus point guards, as well as being dead last in transition defense. Maxey is the second best transition scorer in the league this season, so he looks pretty strong, like a low on spend up option tonight. I definitely like Maxey here. Won't be playing Embiid until we get more clarification on what that the minutes limit is going to be for him. I do like VJ Edgecombe again, though. Talked about it up top. He's a superstar in the making for sure. Might be one quicker than anybody else in the draft. And he's being trusted a lot for heavy minutes right now with Nick Nurse there. I mean, he's going to be playing 38 to 40 minutes in every close game this season. And he's shown that he can contribute in multiple ways, averaging 5.7 rebounds and 6 assists per game, which is really, really good for a rookie. Matchup definitely sets up well for him with how the Wizards have poor rim and transition defense. VJ's up to 12.7 drives per game, which is second on the team in drives per game behind Maxey. So he's still too cheap. Price came down a little bit from last night, 6.5K. Really, really good for him. Won't really get to too much Grimes, but I think Oubre is in play here just with the Wizards giving up a good amount of three-pointers right now. And he does a little bit of everything too. Pretty good transition scorer. Had some reboundings last game as well, so fine spot for him. but definitely have a pretty strong lean in Maxey and Edgecombe over everybody else in the Sixers. The Washington side, a little bit more condensed. I do think there are some low-owned options here that are a little bit interesting. Alex Sarr has played really good to start the season, but he's not playing a ton of minutes, hasn't topped 26 minutes in a game yet this season, averaging just under 36 DraftKings points per game, so pretty solid from a per-minute perspective. Don't really like playing bigs against Joel Embiid, mainly just due to the foul trouble with Embiid being a really strong foul drawer. But if he's still limited to around 20 minutes, then I think Sarr would be okay if they can stagger some of his minutes away from Embiid. The one guy that I'm very interested in is Keyshawn George at 6.6K. I mean, he's another guy that's taken a huge leap in year two and was great in the first 2 games of the season. Was a little bit worse in the last game against Charlotte, but he did foul out in only 20-something odd minutes, so not really taking that too much into account. But he's third on the team in usage, third on the team in assist and rebounding rate, but leads the team in touch time at 4.7%. So they're using him a lot more on ball this season. And that shows up as well when you look at the pick and roll stats. He's first on the team in pick and roll at 8.7 points per game, with 43% of his possessions from a scoring perspective coming from pick and roll. And with the Sixers looking like one of the worst defenses in the league, and also being the worst pick and roll defense, I think you could definitely make a case for Keyshawn George being a really strong option tonight. So I like him the most on Washington. And then I would say CJ and Middleton are probably next. CJ playing a solid amount of minutes. He's second on the team in touch time behind Keyshawn George, and he has pretty modest usage and assist numbers. I think that there's just way more upside on Keyshawn George, so I'll kind of lean him, but I think CJ is kind of the clear number 2. And then got to wait and see what happens with Trey Johnson. If he does miss, that'll open up some more minutes for Carrington and Cam Whitmore. I think Whitmore is kind of interesting as it stands right now at mid 5 to 7% ownership, just because he's going to chuck it when he's out there. He has really strong usage numbers for someone off the bench, and 4K is pretty cheap for a guy that does have 30-plus DK point upside against a really weak Sixers defense. So I think I would lean him for the value guys on Washington.
Yeah, man, Keyshawn George has absolutely been hooping to start the year. I love going right back to him. I mean, the prices got up there a little bit, but I think it's correct where the price is. The usage, I mean, we're seeing low 30s in some of these games, high 20s. He has shot the ball pretty efficiently when he did get there, but I absolutely like him versus CJ. I know I have this sorted by value column and prices are similar, but it just feels like the upside, like you said, if one's going to break the slate or be on the winner, I mean, I think it's Keyshawn George over CJ. CJ feels more like a cash play, I guess. I don't even know how much I love it. He's fine. He's in play, but you're hoping like 5.8x, 6x is almost like a ceiling. It feels like where Keyshawn went up for 60 plus. Same thing with your Cam Whitmore call. I mean, anyone that's coming up, like going to come in and chuck the ball. Hold on, Maddie's calling me one sec. I didn't mute that. Anyone that's coming in and chucking the ball like 25% usage rate, like if he gets hot, might get extra couple minutes. He's 4K. If you do want like a Giannis, like people mentioned on the slate, or want to go spend, you're going to need value. I think Whitmore is a pretty solid value. And again, ownership is low because people are going to go more mid-tier bill and stuff. So I like that. And then what if Trey Johnson, like who gets the biggest bump if Trey Johnson is out? Your boy Bub?
I think so. I don't think that they're really going to give it to I would say it's probably Bub. Like maybe they bring Malachi Branham in the rotation, but probably not. I honestly don't know. It's kind of tough to say. We haven't really seen it happen yet. So I would say Bub, maybe a little bit more Whitmore as well.
Okay. Yeah, I like your Keyshawn and your Bub call there. And then the other side, really not much more to add. Like Edgecombe, we have him as the second, or I'm taking the average between Ship Nation and SaberSim ownership and projections. He right now is the second highest owned player on the slate. I think rightfully so. I mean, yeah, there's nothing bad to say about him. Price is still too cheap. And yeah, I mean, Maxey looks pretty good as well. Not a full stars and scrubs. Like he can be your highest price guy in more of a balanced build, and it fits well. So yeah, I like this game to start it off. A couple pieces you can roll on both sides. All right, let's keep it rolling. Next game on the slates, we have the Charlotte Hornets and the Miami Heat. 5.5 point favorites are the Heat, and 240.5 total in this one, which is what I was saying, the biggest on the slate. Charlotte side, no Brandon Miller. Trey Mann is questionable. On the Miami side, Norm Powell is questionable. Take it away. What do you like in this one?
Yeah, definitely the most appealing game on the slate. We get value with Brandon Miller out, and then potentially no Norm Powell to add some more value on the Heat side on some guys that already project really strongly. But yeah, it's kind of the thing that's most surprising about the Heat right now. They're first in the league in pace, and they've pretty much always been under Eric Spoelstra one of the slowest teams in the league. Charlotte is also they've gone back to playing faster as well. They're fifth in pace with LaMelo out there running the floor again, which is great to see. They look pretty solid. I think definitely a team that's on the rise with the additions that they made in the offseason and in the draft.
Khan's a beast, man. I'll just say that. He's a hooper.
Looks really good. It's definitely crazy to see someone of his archetype go as high as he did in the draft, just because he doesn't really like pop off the page in any way in particular, but he's just kind of a guy that is a winner, I would say.
Wisco boy. Shout out Wisco, another high school boy right there. 20 minutes down the road.
All the hoopers coming out of Wisco.
He's got brothers too, plenty of them, big boys.
I saw that at the draft. He's got like 3 younger brothers, right?
Yeah, they're so tall, man. His dad was the stud. His mom, yeah, that family's got some good genes, that's for sure.
For sure. But yeah, so this is a interesting matchup because the Miami offense has been first in transition this season, and surprisingly, the Charlotte defense is first in transition defense this season. And both these teams are giving up some pick and roll scoring. Charlotte's bottom 7, Miami 9th. So I would say that the guards are in the best spot here. Have a ton of interest in LaMelo tonight with no Brandon Miller. He's had a really good role, like we've kind of talked about for every year that LaMelo's been in the league, but he's starting to play a better brand of basketball, I guess I would say. He has a positive plus minus in every single game this season, had like a plus 30 plus minus last game. But with Miller out, he did see his usage increase up to 35% usage rate, 54% assist rate, 17.6 rebounding rate. So definitely all the numbers that you want to see from somebody priced in the 9Ks. Also has 7.7 minutes of touch time. I would say normally the matchup against Davion Mitchell is one I would be shying away from a little bit, but he did just give up 37 points to Brunson. The Heat are a below average pick and roll defense. LaMelo is a really, really strong pick and roll scorer. So I'd say that he kind of stands out in a big way as one of the top high price options on the slate tonight. I really like LaMelo's upside here. I don't love the spot for Bridges as much. He's getting some ownership, does project pretty strongly. Usually like playing him against teams that have weak transition defenses and weak rim defenses, which the Heat do not have. He's taken a lot more threes early on this season than he was last year, taking no less than 6 threes in a game so far this year. And the Heat are a team that will allow some more off-ball scores to get some volume up. So I would say like matchup-wise, schematic-wise, it is an okay spot for Bridges. I think that you can probably get similar point per dollar upside from guys that are cheaper on the same team. And I think that it kind of leads into Colin Sexton, who's going to be the highest owned player on the slate. And I think for a really good reason. He played 30 and 33 minutes in the 2 games that Miller was injured. He got injured pre-game or mid-game in one of those games and then missed the next game. Colin Sexton did get the start, but he had a really strong role for somebody priced 5.4K, second on the team in touch time last game at 4.8 minutes. He's also one of the top transition scorers in the league at 1.73 points per possession, which is 3rd in the league. And it kind of highlights the pace that the Hornets would like to play at. I would say that Sexton, getting 32 minutes moving forward with Miller out is going to be a really, really strong value for as long as he's in the 5K range. So I'll definitely be playing him at a pretty high clip tonight. And then also Khan, who we just talked about. I think that he's kind of sneaky here, 4.9K, not getting a lot of ownership. Definitely going to be a guy that sees more of an increase to his offensive role. I would love to see him add some more peripherals, maybe some more rebounds and assists to the stat line. But even last game, not adding too much. He had 6 rebounds and 2 assists, 20 points, but shot 5 of 9 from deep. A really good matchup for the off-ball shooters, like I mentioned with Bridges, and he's getting a lot of his scoring off of catch and shoot stuff. 59% of his field goal attempts do come off of catch and shoot opportunities. So yeah, I really like Khan as a low-owned option tonight at 4.9K. And then Cockbrenner and Diabate, I think they're in play at the center position if we need some value there, but I don't really love either one of them in particular. I think there's some better center-only options on the slate. I probably won't get to too much of them. Then also should keep an eye on what happens with Trey Mann's injury designation, because if he's out and we need a pure punt value, the Sion James guy, I don't really know much about him, but he was getting talked up a little bit by the beat writers in Charlotte, so he looks like he's playing pretty well right now and would be an okay value if we really need to go down that low. The Miami side, getting a ton of ownership on Bam. Looks like he's going to be maybe the second or third highest owned player on the entire slate. So that kind of brings us to a decision point on the slate of what we want to do with him. Bam was on his way to a huge game against Memphis, and definitely would have buried me if that game didn't get blown out, because I was pretty underweight on him in that slate. But I think he had like 20 first quarter points, something like that. Was just going crazy in the first half. The Hornets are surprisingly the best defense against power forwards right now, as their defense looks much improved, especially around the basket. I probably think that Bam might be better played as like a correlated piece in this game, which don't really talk about too much in NBA, but it is a smaller slate, so you could bump up the correlation a little bit and kind of hope that this one just shoots out in a really big way. Maybe we get an overtime or two like we did in the Suns game last night, where you saw 2 or 3 Jazz and 2 or 3 Suns needed to hit the optimal. So yeah, I think that he's probably better played as a correlated piece in this game. He does have a really solid role this season, leading the team in usage. And if Norman Powell were to miss, that would probably add some more usage to his play, because Norm is second on the team in that category. So I think Bam, okay, I probably don't want to play him as a one-off. I think that he's probably a little bit more game environment dependent than we would think. So that's kind of how I'm going to treat it. Norm Powell, if he plays, I think is a really solid option. The Hornets are a bit more of a three-point funnel this season. Norm is definitely the top three-point shooter, averaging 3 threes made per game. I would imagine if he plays, probably at full strength, but if he misses, that'll definitely open up a lot of value on guys that are already getting a lot of ownership in Jaime Jaquez and Nikola Jovic. I would imagine Jaquez is the guy that gets the start, and he's been playing really well lately. Kind of had a down season last year, as they were just asking him to play more off ball, whereas this season he's had a much better on ball role, and I think it's definitely warranted. This team doesn't really have like a true point guard. I don't know if you consider Davion a point guard. I would say that his role will definitely decrease when Tyler Hero comes back, but he's averaging right now 3.6 minutes of touch time per game, which is second on the team behind Davion, and then 9.3 potential assists per game, which is a really solid number for a bench guy. I would say that he's probably one of the better value plays in the slate right now, even with Norm in. But with Norm out, he kind of becomes a guy you just really can't get away from. Wiggins is 30% owned. I'm going to be definitely taking an underweight stance on him. His role has been really bad this season for the Heat, 5th on the team in usage, barely getting any touch time. He's getting a lot of his points around the basket and in transition. And if the defensive numbers are true for the Hornets and they do become a better rim and transition defenses league, then this would just not be a good spot for Andrew Wiggins. So I'm going to be taking an underweight stance on him for sure. Davion, probably the same thing, 5.9K, a little bit too expensive for him. But Kel'el Ware, I think, is a really solid option here. He was supposed to start in the opener, but kind of got injured in practice before that game. So he came off the bench, then got to start in the last 2 games. Had a wide range of outcomes with 17 or fewer DraftKings points in 2 of the 3 first games of the season, but 35 against Memphis. And I would say that the Hornets, they've been a really solid spot to attack for centers so far this season. They're allowing the second most fantasy points per game to the position and allowing 5 more real points than the next closest team at 35 points per game to centers alone. So I would say that Ware, probably my second or third favorite Heat tonight. And then Jovic as another guy I could kind of see myself getting underweight to. Just hasn't really seen a crazy increase in his role. Did sign the contract in the offseason and kind of got talked up a bunch. But I would say that I would probably try to find the money to get up to Ware, and I definitely prefer Jaime Jaquez for $400 more than Jovic. And then lastly, I would say that Fontecchio going to be in tonight. He's probable. I would say that I probably prefer him a little bit more than Jovic as well, just with the Hornets giving up more three-pointers this season.
Does he get a big boost if there's no Norm, you think?
Fontecchio or
yeah,
Jovic? Yeah, for sure. He's probably playing like minimum probably like 22 minutes, I would say.
3-2, yeah. Again, not too many guys like almost stone cold punts right now that are in play, so that could open up some stuff. Jaquez is definitely my favorite on the Heat side at price. I mean, the dude just has so many ways to get there, and he's only 4.5K. Only could get better if there's no Norm. Would you rather, or would you be fine playing Bam and Ware? It's nice Bam has that power forward eligibility.
Yeah, I think
I don't see why not.
Yeah, I think that'd be fine. I like checking the SaberSim correlation thing, and seeing what they what it looks like. I think they're going to be slightly negative, but
so you click what he's saying. So you click the person's name right there, and then you can see positive and negative correlation. Negative 0.14. I wonder how much does SaberSim know? Like is it that like deep where they know how many minutes they're sharing the court at all times and all that stuff? Do you know the answer to that?
I don't know the answer, but definitely something to kind of table for later when we talk about NBA and the Saber series for sure.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty important, because I mean, if it does, like I gotta rely on this stuff even more. Like 0.04 is pretty minuscule. You are getting up to like the negative 0.114 stuff. I mean, that's something to note. But again, I want to know if they know exactly the rotations and all of that. That'd be important. What about LaMelo or Maxey if you had to pick one?
I like LaMelo a little bit more than Maxey tonight.
If Norm's out, Philly. Okay. It's by far, like when we go talk about these next 3 games, like there's individual pieces or like a couple here and there, but it's so clear these first 2 games are the games to stack up. Like if I had 5 players in the Miami-Charlotte game, I'm good with it. If I had 4 players in the Washington-Philly game, I'm good with it. If I only got 1 or 2 spots left on my teams after the 4:30 games, like I'm fine. I think it's the clear best spots. Again, like totals and stuff doesn't usually mean as much in NBA DFS because injuries are so prevalent as the year goes on. So opportunity, usage, all that matters more. But when teams are pretty much fully healthy and pricing's pretty efficient like we have now, then you do want, when they're implied, or like when the game's supposed to score 13 more points and teams play faster, more possessions, you do kind of gravitate to stuff like that. So yeah, these first 2 games by far the best on the slate. We will touch on these other 3. Before we do so, though, over 300 watching. We appreciate everyone hanging out, bringing you NBA shows on this channel Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, non-NFL days. We're on this channel every single day, though, 7 days a week. We have shows. We appreciate the like button. Helps us out a ton. Subscribe button as well. You are definitely right, though, Scooter. I mean, the mountain time is the nut for every single DFS sport, in my opinion. I mean, getting up at 6, maybe a little harder on Sunday, but it's fine. Absolutely love mountain time when it comes to NBA DFS. But yeah, subscribe button helps us out a ton. Like button helps us out a ton. If you do want to join us at the Nation, and there is completely no better time to do it, as you see all these sports up here are going on. And I want to shout out NHL, something new right here, little stack rankings. NHL is stacking sport, very important. That is a new piece of content. Shout out to Nades and the team getting that up. So many sports going on right now. Prizes are massive. And you can join us for as little as $19 if you want to give us a try. 5 days, $19 using the code SHIP19 as you see above. We would love to have you. Been on a heater. A lot of people been on the heater over at ShipItNation.com. Another $61,000 NFL showdown win. Tambo gets his $20K. So it's been awesome. We'd love to have you. Again, $19, 4 or 5 days using SHIP19. Next game on the slate, it's Milwaukee Bucks and the New York Knicks. Me against Wardo in this one. Wardo's team favored by 2.5, 229.5 total. Injuries on this one on the New York side. No Miles McBride, and Yabusele is questionable. On the Bucks side, no KPJ like we've seen. Ryan Rollins should continue to start. Yeah, we talked about Giannis earlier. If you uncheck everything, you sort by salary. We have Giannis, we have SGA. Definitely the 2 spends on the slate, and then you have those pretty strong high 9K options. As you can see with ownership, like they're not getting too much on this slate. Maybe if like all these injuries, the Johnsons of the world, the Norm Powells of the world, probably Giannis goes up a little bit, but I still kind of struggle to see him being like chalk, like Edgecombe and just so many good Bam. I think there's enough mid-tier options. People gravitate that way. Do you see yourself getting up to Giannis? What do you see in this game?
Don't think that's going to be something that I force, but I would say he probably comes in a little bit higher than projected. People like looking at box scores, and definitely, I mean, he's Eastern Conference Player of the Week. We saw Wemby, I think he was projected for like 26% ownership last night and ended up like 40 and then even like 75, and I think in the $100 contest. So there's definitely a chance that the ownership projections are wrong. They're definitely very fragile earlier in the season as well. But yeah, I kind of agree with you that right now as it stands, I wouldn't be forcing my way into playing Giannis, mainly because I could see these teams, this game in general, being a little bit more of a defensive battle. I would say that there are some individual matchups on both sides that I'm interested in, but I could see this game playing closer to the under than the over. Looks like the Knicks will be out without Mitch Robb and McBride tonight. Haven't heard anything on Yabusele yet, so I have to see what the front court looks like for them. Yeah, still questionable, but McBride does vacate a good amount of minutes. I would imagine a handful of those probably go to Josh Hart and Jordan Clarkson, maybe a little bit of Landry Shamet as well. But yeah, if anything, just makes Brunson a little bit better. Doesn't have to share the ball as much with McBride tonight. And then the Bucks will be without Kevin Porter Jr. again for a couple more games. Ryan Rollins has played really, really well in his absence, but they also will be getting Cole Anthony back tonight. He did miss one game over the weekend, and that kind of propped up Rollins to play 34 minutes in that game. But yeah, defensively, both these teams playing very strong right now. The Knicks are 5th, the Bucks are 11th. Both of these teams top half of the league in rim defense. Knicks are a little bit more of a three-point funnel, allowing the 3rd most threes per game this season. And I would say that the main weakness for the Bucks, kind of always just with the way that they have played under Doc Rivers, is their pick and roll defense is never really that good. Right now, they're bottom 6 in the league. I do think that getting rid of Dame will make them a little bit better in that category. I think Rollins is a pretty solid defender, but Kevin Porter Jr., Cole Anthony definitely not known for their defense. On the Knicks side, I have a pretty strong lean of Brunson over Cat tonight. Cat has been pretty solid in this matchup versus the Bucks and versus Miles Turner in particular. He's averaging a double-double against Turner, 30 points, 12 boards versus the Pacers last season. And then versus the Bucks, he had 2 massive games, one bad game, to put his average at 50 DraftKings points per game against the Bucks. Second on the team in usage behind Brunson, leading the team in rebounds at 20%. Going to continue with Mitchell Robinson out and Huck Porty not really playing that sizable of a role. So he's a really good bet for a double-double with some upside for more. Always a good tag for Cat anytime he's sub 9K, so you could definitely make the case for him as a guy that just can blow up in any matchup. But I think matchup-wise, I do lean Brunson here for the reasons mentioned about the Bucks defensively with their pick and roll defense being very poor this season. Brunson's going to always be towards the top of the league in pick and roll scoring. He is again this season, just 9.99 points per game this season, 38% of his possessions coming in pick and roll situations. So definitely getting it done there. Has had a slightly different role this season, just not really being asked to play as many minutes as he was in the past with the added depth of the Knicks. But I think with McBride out, they'll definitely maybe give him a couple more minutes. Maybe he gets up to like 37 tonight. But he leads the team in all the meaningful categories, usage, assist, and touch time. So yeah, I'm really liking Brunson as a point guard option tonight at 8.1K. I think that's a good tag for him.
I like the call. I want to get to 8.1's a great price tag for his usage. I don't even hate Towns at like 8.6K. I wouldn't play him together, and I'll definitely ride with you on preferring Brunson, but it's still a good price with a guy that has a lot of upside that I don't even know if I fully believe that 26% with Bam and some other strong center options. He does have power forward eligibility, but I wanted to get to like these OGs, the Bridges, the Harts, but man, the usage is just it's just not there for the price at the end of the day that they're going to get their minutes and it's a competitive game. Like if I had one of the 3 on a team, I think I'd be fine with it. But yeah, getting the 2,000 for Brunson feels so much better for upside in this spot. So that's really all I like on the Knicks stuff. And the Bucks, like Cole Anthony's probably my favorite. Like it feels like when he comes in, I think I prefer him to Rollins for the 600 savings just because when he comes in, he's chucking. Whereas Rollins, I mean, he's going to be chasing. You think he gets the Brunson assignment, I take it?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, he'll be chasing him around the whole time, deferring to Giannis, Miles, and other pieces there. So I really think it's Giannis is the spend if you have the money or stuff opens, Cole Anthony, and yeah, Brunson. It's so clear when we talk about these games how much better the first 2 games are than this one. Anything else to add?
No, I just kind of want to give a little bit of a shout to some of the 3-point shooters on the Bucks. I think that like Gary Trent Jr. and AJ Green are probably worth playing a little bit of tonight if you're playing 20 to 150 lineups, just because the Knicks are allowing a really large amount of 3-pointers right now, and that kind of dates back all the way to Mike Brown's time with the Kings. He's always been a defense that allows a lot of threes. So I think that both those guys, as the 3 best 3-point shooting options for the Bucks, are definitely in play. But I agree with you on Cole Anthony over Ryan Rollins tonight.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear yours and Wardo's takes, but I mean, Brown over Tibbs has to be a huge upgrade, at least in terms of, I mean, NBA is a long season. You gotta have all your guys healthy and feeling good if you want to make a full run. Wardo, how do you feel about the new coach? I think you like Tibbs actually, but curious to your thoughts. And then Rio, what's your initial thoughts in the small sample so far?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think longevity wise, it's great for the Knicks. It has been pretty tough for DFS, which is what we're obviously talking about. But I would say that longevity wise, I think it's going to be good for them if they can get to the playoffs with a fully healthy team and not have to play OG and Hart and Brunson 40+ minutes a night.
Yeah, I definitely just disagree. I mean, Tibbs has not won anything ever when it's all said and done.
Yep.
It's not who I would want as my coach. Just like Doc Rivers. I hate Doc Rivers. I do not want him. I would definitely max one of these two. Both project poorly. You need a hot shooting night for both. They're low owned enough where you can jam chalk around and just hope you get that one day. So I would max one of that. All right, next game on the slates, we have the Los Angeles Clippers and the Golden State Warriors, -1.5. Favorites are the Clippers, 223.5 favorites, or 223.5 favorites, 223.5 total in this one. Injuries, Sacramento side, no Clifford. I don't know what that really means, but definitely big news on OKC side. Obviously still without J-Dub, no Isaiah Joe, and no Chet Holmgren. That is big news, obviously, for that side. Let's start OKC side, and then we'll get to the Kings after. But, yeah, what does no Chet do for this team?
I'm just making sure. My dogs are barking crazy outside right now, so I wonder if I got to close the window. I don't know if anybody could hear that, but we did have an issue on Friday where there's crows outside my window going crazy for like 10 minutes.
It's up to you.
I think we're good. I think they're going to chill. Yeah, Sacramento, I mean, this team looks – it's just kind of a weirdly constructed roster, and their offense is very bad. Like, they're playing like an 80s brand of basketball. I just saw a tweet – I think it was last night or this morning that they have they're taking the second most mid-range jumpers in the league, and they have the third lowest frequency at the basket. And you got DeMar DeRozan over here complaining that they're not getting enough foul calls, but they're just not taking any shots at the rim. They're not really committing any contact to get fouls called for them. So I think it's just a very oddly constructed team. You got a bunch of guys that kind of do the same thing. In terms of DFS for this game, I just think that the Kings are going to be outmatched in a pretty big way. Definitely with Chet out, it'll make the rim defense a little bit worse for OKC, but they still got Hartenstein and Jalen Williams and a couple other guys that will play well down there. So I think that if you were to get to anybody on the Kings, I might say Sabonis just because he can do a little bit, like he can add enough peripherals to be viable. But his role has been kind of weird to start the season as well. I think Levine would probably be the guy I would have the most interest in on any given night against the Thunder, just with the Thunder kind of giving up more 3-point volume like they always do. But, I mean, he's just adding no peripheral stats at either. He has 2 assists this season and just 8 rebounds through 3 games, scoring the ball really well, taking a ton of shots. But you're going to need like 35 to 40 real points for him to be a viable tournament option. I guess you could make the case for DeMar just because he does add more assists to his stat line, so he'd be fine, but not really excited about playing him ever. I'd say that Schroeder is the guy that is probably I'm the most okay getting to at 5.7K just because he's had the best role for the Kings right now. Definitely the role of somebody that should be priced a little bit higher. He's first in the team in usage rate, surprisingly, first in the team in assist percentage, and first in touch time at 6.3 minutes. So pretty decent role. The matchup does suck, but I'd say that is the role of somebody that should be priced probably in like the low 6Ks. And then Russ is playing long enough rotations, or at least he did last game, play long enough rotations to be viable as somebody that's been a solid fantasy point per minute producer even towards this end of his career. But I would definitely probably not want to play more than max one of the guards between Schroeder, Russ, Monk, or Keon Ellis. Don't have a ton of interest in the Kings tonight. The OKC side is definitely much better. The Kings have been one of the worst pick and roll defenses to start the season, which makes this a great spot for SGA, who's 4th in the league in pick and roll scoring. I would say outside of one game, Shea's been a little bit underwhelming to start the season, but we know that he's going to get back to doing what he does, and I would say that tonight is a really good spot for him to do that with no Chet or Jalen Williams. He's definitely going to have to step up in a pretty big way. We have a very large sample dating back to last season of Shea on the court without those two off. or with those two off. He has a 880-minute sample, has a 39.25% usage rate, 36 assist percentage, and then 1.8 fantasy points per minute, which is up there with like Jokic and Wemby. So I would say that the downside for SGA is the potential for the blowout risk, but with Chet out, there's a really good shot of this game staying a little bit closer than usual. So I really like SGA as a spend up tonight. I think he might be going a little bit overlooked on a small slate. And then Hardenstein going to be the primary defender on Sabonis, does add some foul risk, but another guy that sees a pretty big bump in his usage stats, 2.1%, 1.9% to his assist, and 1.2% to the rebounding rates, 1.33 fantasy points per minute in 275 minutes with Chet and Jalen off the court last season. So he looks like a solid option. I think he's actually pretty good at 6.3K given the matchup. So I think that, I like him probably second best on the team. And then the value guys for OKC, I think you're definitely going to have to look to them. AJ Mitchell has been kind of the guy that stood out in a really big way. He's starting to play a lot of minutes, but Caruso is coming back, so that might take off the minute ceiling for him. He did play 27, 29, and 30 regulation minutes in his last 3 games. He probably settles around like 24, 25 with Caruso back. But maybe there's a little bit of a trickle-down effect with Chet being out here. I think that Wiggins is kind of the guy that is going to benefit in the biggest way. Not sure if they're going to start him. I've heard and seen a couple different projected starters for OKC, with one of them being Aaron Wiggins and one of them being Caruso. I still think that even Wiggins coming off the bench is going to be a really, really strong option. So I'll probably be playing him at a pretty high clip over the other guys. And then Lou Dort back at home, always going to be in play. Just he shoots a lot better at home. The Kings aren't allowing a lot of 3-pointers right now this season, so it makes him a little bit less appealing. But he's probably a guy that they're going to be okay leaving open with no Chet, no Jalen Williams tonight. So I could see him getting, some shot volume. But I don't think that he does enough of the other things to really be viable. I would say that Wiggins, Hardenstein, and SGA are the clear 3 for OKC for me.
This game, if you had to play 3 or 4 pieces, this game, Bucks game, or Golden State game, which one are you choosing? Probably this game with the value or the OKC injuries.
No, because I don't really love getting to the Kings guys. I would probably say the Warriors and Clippers game.
All right. I got nothing really to add. I'm going back and forth with these people in chat. Love the whether I agree with you, disagree with you. I love the banter back and forth. So I listened to some of your stuff. I was definitely typing in chat and in this conversation for the other. All right, let's get to the last game of the slates. We are talking Golden State and the Clippers. Minus 1.5 point favorites are the Clippers. 223.5 total in this one. Clippers side, no Bradley Beal. Golden State has no injuries. That is a concern. Clicking on this game, sorting by ownership, the highest owned guy in the slate, Kawhi 29, Harden 25, and after that, pretty much dropping to single digits. As you can see with the Warriors, is a fully healthy team. I mean, the prices are just so they're correct in all these guys, like 7-8 Jimmy, 9-1 Steph, 6-1 Draymond, 6-2 Kuminga. It feels like almost like a max 1 Warriors on the slate. I don't even know which ones I'd want to get to. And then I throw it to you on this. Are you fine playing Kawhi and Harden together at what feels like very cheap prices on the both of them? So interested in your take on that. And then, Warriors side looks tough.
Yeah, this game should be a good one for just real life viewing. Both these teams, I'd say, are top 7 teams in the West, top 6 maybe. But these are 2 of the top 7 and 8 offenses in the league this season. Both these teams play really strong defense, but there are a couple areas of weakness for each side. Clippers are a little bit more of a 3-point funnel. It's kind of inflated by what the Jazz did to them on opening night. But the Warriors' rim defense has not been great. It's okay, not great right now, but they're really getting beat out in transition. Not sure you're going to have to worry about that too much. Clippers are never really a team that's looking to get out and run. But yeah, to answer your question, I would definitely be okay with Harden and Kawhi tonight. It's too cheap of a tag for these guys. They're going to be the 2 that are dominating usage for the team, going to have the ball in their hands pretty much the entire time that they're on the court. Harden has been really good outside of that game against the Jazz. He's been really good in the last 2 games. Second on the team in usage behind Kawhi, but first in assist percentage by a pretty wide margin. 43.7% is a really elite number for any guard. So that's really good. And he's also leading the team in 6.2 minutes of touch time per game, 13.7 potential assists per game, averaging 46.4 DK points per game. the Warriors have given up some really huge games to point guards this season, allowing the second most fantasy points per game to the position, third most assists per game. So yeah, I would say that Harden he might be the top points per dollar option at the point guard position tonight at 8.5K. Definitely think he's a borderline core option. And then Kawhi coming off of 2 strong outings as well, like I said, leading the team in usage. It might be a little bit tougher matchup for Kawhi with Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green defending him, maybe some Kuminga in there as well. He did have a really big game against them last season, but that was kind of inflated due to the overtime. But him and Harden combined for 72 real points in that game. Kawhi had 56.5 DK points in that one. And the Warriors defense not really playing as well as we're accustomed to, with the rim defense not being great. So I still think that I'm okay overlooking the matchup a little bit, just with how cheap of a tag this is. Zubac, I don't love. He's going to be splitting center minutes. I wouldn't say 50-50, but it's probably closer to like a 65-35 or 60-40 split between him and Brook Lopez. They just haven't really had a capable backup center behind him in a while, and now that they do, I don't think they're really going to be trying to run him up there for 36-plus minutes like they were at points of last season. The center position does have some stronger options below him. I do prefer Hardenstein and Ware a little bit more, so I probably won't get to too much Zubac tonight. Same thing for Collins. I mean, 5.2K for a guy coming off the bench that kind of needs 30-plus minutes to hit in a big way. Not really something I'm interested in. And it's kind of gross. These might be more of showdown options than anything, but Derek Jones Jr. and Chris Dunn are 2 guys I could see myself getting to some tonight, just mainly because Derek Jones can kind of pop off in a big way at random times with teams that have weak transition defenses, which is what the Warriors do have. But he's also had a pair of 27-plus DK point outings versus the Warriors last season. And then Chris Dunn, with no Bradley Beal and the matchup versus Steph, should be the guy that's getting the start alongside James Harden. He was averaging 29.2 minutes in this matchup versus the Warriors last season. Don't think he gets there tonight, but his fantasy point per minute production in those games was fairly modest for somebody at 3.5K, 0.84 fantasy points per minute. So even if he plays like 23, 24 minutes, that'd be pretty good for somebody priced that low. And I guess you could get to Bogdan if you want to. I just don't know if he does enough for me. The Warrior side, I kind of agree. It might be a max 1 spot here. Just all these guys are priced appropriately, like you said. Steph probably going to be my favorite, but he's pretty far behind every other point guard I mentioned up to this point at the slate. Just kind of a high upside option. I would say a late swap option, but this game's 3 hours later than any other game, so you're probably either just going to get him or you're not. I probably would say I won't tonight. I think Kuminga might be the best points per dollar option on the Warriors side tonight. He's been really good in pretty much every game this season and doing a little bit more than he was doing last season, kind of, carving out a better role on the team, 3rd in usage, 4th in assists, 1st in rebounding, which is kind of wild. But, he's just adding some more touch time as well, 2.5 minutes. So he's doing a little bit more on ball and off ball with some 3-pointer. He did put up a decent 3-point volume game in the opener. So I think that he's probably my favorite option. And then I would say Jimmy, I guess. I don't know. I don't love these guys in particular. I think that Kuminga is probably the only guy I'm going to get to.
Yeah, the Warrior side looks really tough. I agree. And like you said, it's a good point with the late swap stuff. You're really late swap matters usually when you still have 4 or 3 roster spots on a lot of your teams. You're talking multiple games of swap. That's not the case. 4 of the 5 games will already be done. So not too much late swap stuff in this one. And I'm starting to get even more hesitant on the negative correlation because I clicked on Brook Lopez. His with Zubac is way less. I guess it's negative 0.07, but it's negative 0.14 for the Ware Bam stuff. You know what I mean? Brook and Zubac are never going to share the court.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even consider pricing really when it takes into this number. So I don't know. Any thoughts on that? I just found that interesting. You'd expect Zubac to be a lot more negatively correlated, right?
With Lopez?
Yeah.
I would imagine that it's just because they don't share the court together at all is why the number is where it's at.
So why would when Ware and Bam, maybe I'm just thinking this completely wrong way, when they do share the court for periods of time and that they are staggered at times, why would it be so negatively correlated there? You can't
because they're
get 2 rebounds at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. They're competing for the same stats.
Yeah, you can get an assist and and points in the NBA. I mean, it's such an up and down game, but yeah, I guess that makes sense. I don't really know. He said Harden. Yeah, I think he said Harden could be a core play. I think you said could be a core play.
Yeah. I mean, you'll see it on the site. You're a subscriber, so you'll know.
Yeah, NBA GPP core report. We got our man Matt, Rio, and Ham. I'm on the cash reports. Rio is on the slate plan. Always very in-depth breakdown there. The Stone, the best tool in DFS, and of course the showdown content slate plan. Good prizes in the afternoon window. You get 3 hours. Little Neck will have his towers up, projections, ownership, of course. And again, all these sports still going on. Big boy prizes in a lot of them. And again, you can join for as little as $19 4 or 5 days using the code SHIP19. We'd love to have you. We'd love you in the Discord. Oh, okay, Nate, shipping the 20 max. I might have to withdraw from that and then retiring. Just gets back from the cruise ship, wants to go back on another one. Nate's already retiring. Good NHL slate. I think 13 games that locks in an hour. 10 minutes if you want to check that out. Again, new stack rankings there as well. Rio, any final thoughts before we get on out of here?
No, I mean, if you guys follow Brandon's takes in the chat, then you're definitely shipping. He's got some strong leans tonight. I don't see why Kawhi would be guarding Kuminga and not Jimmy Butler, but I don't know anything, apparently.
Hey, everyone's got their own takes. We love it. Like I said, whether I completely disagree, completely agree, it'll always be friendly over here. People get mad when you have a take they don't agree with. Hey, that's life at the end of the day. If everyone agreed with each other in life on everything, I promise you it would not be nearly as fun as it is this way. But that'll do it for us. We appreciate everyone hanging out. Again, like button on the way out. Helps us out a ton. Subscribe button as well. For Rio, I'm Titletown. Good luck tonight. Be safe. Peace.